Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson. Our topic today is demand analysis, and some of the objectives that we shall cover today is that by the end of this lesson, you should be able to define what is demand. 2. To differentiate between individual demand and market demand. 3. You should be able to give the factors that affect demand and also to explain each factor. Also, another objective is that you should be able to use the data given for price and quantity to plot a demand curve. Also, you should be able to explain the phenomena of equilibrium. That is, those are the objectives that we shall be using or we shall cover in today's lesson. Let us begin. What is demand? Demand is basically the quantity demanded by consumer, and that consumer should be willing and able to buy that quantity in the market at a given price, in conjunction that other things are held constant. Individual demand means that personally, or you yourself, one person, anything that you demand takes us through to what we call individual demand. But when we say market demand, is that we combine the demand for various consumers. You are there, one. I am here. Our friend is there. When we combine the three individual, makes what we call market demand. When we say individual, demand schedule is simply a table that shows the number of quantities with alternative or perspective or respective prices. In such a manner, we have individual. But if we combine the quantities that you have, your friend have, I have, we sum up all of them, let's say 20 plus 30 plus 50, it becomes 100. The price there is 20. That is what we call now market demand schedule. Let us move to the next part. The next part is that we are going to see what we call factors that affect demand. One of the factors is the price of the good. When the price of that good goes up, it means the consumers will consume less of that quantity, and vice versa. That is, when the price comes down, the consumers then to take more of that quantity. Factor number 2 is government policy. When we say government policy, we mean two things. One, we mean what we call tax. This is basically for the consumers. For example, if today you buy a loaf of bread at 50 shillings and government decides to add tax on that price of the bread, tomorrow you will buy the bread at 60 shillings. The quantities that consumers take today when the price is 50 shillings is high. But when the price goes to 60, Yes, people will still consume the bread, but in small quantity. That is on taxation. Another part is this subsidy. Subsidy is majorly for producers. For example, as we speak at this time, the Kenyan government is already running or enrolling farmers on registration for a subsidized fertilizer. Here, last year, for example, the DAP fertilizer 50 kilogram bag was 6,500 to 6,900, almost 7,000. You realize that it was expensive. Therefore, we had few consumers or few buyers of fertilizer, or the quantity which was bought at the market at that time was less. But now government has enrolled a subsidy, it means it will be cheaper at 3,500. Hence, more people will demand more DAP fertilizer. That is factor number 2. Let's go to factor number 3. Factor number 3 is consumer taste and preference. How do we explain the word taste? Maybe you consume something and you realize that this thing is very sweet. Then, now that you know it is very sweet, you tend to consume more, or you buy more of that good. But if the taste is poor, then likely the quantity that you demand will go down. Another factor is level of advertisement. If the level is high, then more people or more consumers will be highly aware about the product. And the more the product is known, then the more the quantity will be demanded. But if the level of advertisement is low or it is non-existent, then nobody is aware about your product. Therefore, the quantity demanded will be low. Another thing is this, the availability of credit. When we say credit, it is different from income. Income is what you earn. In case you earn 600 shillings per month, for example, you take 400 for consumption and any other activities, 200 you save. That amount you have saved becomes credit. Or the amount you borrow becomes what? Credit. So the more the credit you have, the more the credit the consumers have, then it will be, or it will result to higher demand of a given quantity. The last but not the least is that the price of the substitutes. The price of the substitutes. Substitutes are goods that can be used alternatively. For example, tea, a cup of tea and a cup of coffee. If you miss, let's say the price of tea goes up, more people will leave the tea and go for coffee because the price of coffee is much less compared to the reason one of the tea. And it is vice versa. If the price of the coffee goes up, then some people will move to tea, and that is the level or the price of substitutes. The last of the factor, but not the least of all, there are very many. Let us have a look on income of the consumer. The more you earn, if there is a slight increase, then you tend to consume more of a given good, especially a normal good. Especially a normal good. But in case the price comes down, then you will have less amount to put in consumption. hence the quantity of the product that you normally consume is likely to drop. There's an assignment that I will give you after this lesson. This assignment is this. By use of a diagram, I would like you to show the relationship between a quantity and price. And then after that, I would like you to point where do we have equilibrium, and then show by use of a dotted lines the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. That is the assignment, and then it is 10 marks. Submit by next lesson, that is this Friday on 20th at 10 a.m. Let us go on to the next part, that is exceptional demand curves. Normally demand curves flows from left rightwards in a downward direction. But when we say exceptional demands, is that they are rising or they are moving upwards from left up to the rightwards. This happens because of the following exceptions. In case there is inferior good. Inferior goods are those commodities where the consumer may give up the less essential complements in an effort to continue consuming the same amount of food stuff. For example, we have what we call ugali and skuma. Those are examples of inferior goods. Here, we have an exception. In case I have less income, then I will drop meat for the sake of skuma and ugali. Another exception is when we say we have goods of ostentation. These are some of the commodities that appear desirable only if they are expensive. In such cases, the consumer buys goods or a service or uses the service to show off or impress others. For example, necklace. Another is new model of a vehicle. Today you drive BMW or hybrid. You are simply buying expensive hybrid car to impress others. Good? I hope it is understood. Another exceptional is when there is what we call speculative demand. Let us go to last year's in energy industry, whereby we had a scarce fuel all over the country. The fuel was not scarce, but due to fear of future changes in price, that is from where it is now to an expensive level. Because people were aware that something might happen, then the demand went up, and the results to shortage of that. So from there, today, that is what we are supposed to learn. Let us have a look on the summary. What did we learn? What did we learn today? We came across some aspects. We defined what was demand. After the demand, we went through and see individual demand and market demand. And then after that, are you able to differentiate between individual market schedule and market schedule? You should be able to differentiate the two. And then after that, we summarize and say factors that affect demand. We mentioned there are around 5 that we mentioned. One of them is the price of the good itself. Another one is the price of the substitutes. Another one is the consumer income. Another one is government policy. Finally, we say speculative, or we say the level of demand. Thank you for your time, and I hope we shall meet in the next lesson. Good evening. Bye bye. See you. Thank you.